everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your 8th The Rookie Season 7 episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're safe out there in the big old world. We're here, the mid-season finale, which kind of feels weird because normally when I say that, we're already kind of going into the holidays. It's February. So it feels weird. Also, it's been a while since we had a proper mid-season finale. It has been a bit. I think the last time we got it was in the middle of season 5, like I think 2-3 years ago. So it's been a while since we had the terminology of the rookie mid-season finale. Because even though they produced 18 episodes straight for the season, they were still able to kind of, craft a little mini break to kind of give everyone some time to catch up their breath before we get back with the remaining 10 episodes in a couple of weeks. And I think the way they designed this episode was very purposeful. And I think, honestly, for me, this is, I think, one of the standouts for the season so far. It definitely is kind of like a mini culmination of certain things we've kind of been building towards throughout the season. And I said that before a lot of times already, but like it's just how the writers do it, and I think it works out well. Where a couple major plot lines either concluded, kind of really gotten, really pushed to the next level, or at least morphed into something else that I wasn't even expecting. And like I said this before a lot of times this season. I don't think I'll stop, but it showcases how intriguing that the writers can still keep making this stuff fresh. That we're well into, like, I want to say we're in the 120s now when it comes to episodes, and we're still kind of creating stuff that's like we could still have sustainability for at least another 20 episodes. And the fact of that being made and said has been great to see. It really has been. And I think it felt like one of those episodes where it felt like a little bit was too much what's going on. So that might be my only little critique. But considering how serious the event was, the whole backstory behind it, that I think it warranted that. Like, even if we didn't get every single thing to like get a proper 4 to 5 scenes of a storyline, I think it was worth it in order to kind of, allow them to craft the story that it is, that so much was happening. Because again, when the real life thing happened, a lot is happening. And again, there's that's also a point to say, is that they did make a disclaimer in the beginning of this episode that this episode was filmed and written and done, everything was written before the tragic recent wildfires that hit California, which happened, I believe, the start of the new year, just like a couple, it felt like a while ago, but it was only a month ago. I think it was just before the Emmys. And so it's been, it's been some time, and obviously sometime when it comes to like these real world events, when they kind of have some similarities to the TV shows that are, crafting it, sometimes they just skip it over because it does seem a little insensitive. However, since this is crucial to the storyline, we cannot skip this episode. That at least they made the disclaimer, but it does actually, point like there's a lot going on. And again, I've never been through, because again, I live in New York, so we never have to deal with that. And the closest we've ever been close to anything of that caliber was a hurricane, like almost 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. So I don't know how it feels, but from what I could tell and from what I could see online, that it is very much of a, you don't know what the hell's going on. You don't know what's going to happen next. And you kind of are in this fight or flight survival mode. So even though it is a TV show, that I think they did a really good job of, being able to communicate that sense of urgency, as well as managing to kind of weave into their own existing storylines. And how do we proceed forward with this? But with all that being said, let's go into the Butcher Recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie. So we begin. It's a very, very hot, sunny day in California. It's a very hot day, and the trio of Chen, Juarez, and Harper, which is a very interesting pair. But again, to kind of give a little bit more uniqueness, like interesting pairings, obviously. And also, it's going to be officially Juarez's, I want to say, first day as a P2. So again, even though last episode we just saw her wrap up the program, it's still a very important, strong start of her P2 journey. Even Chen's ready to give her a list of suggestions of what she has to do. How could she, kickstart in the right credible pace? But sadly, they get a little distracted, because the real reason they're here is because Harper's still keeping an eye on Glasser, who was the suspected serial killer that they almost poached a few episodes ago. However, sadly, eventually Gray pulled the plug on it. It cost way too much money for no evidence return, so he cut the program. So Harper has kind of been doing her own due diligence, her own volunteering time to to keep an eye on Glasser. And he's aware of it. He knows of it. But again, he's very much like unfazed by it. He's just ready to like, okay, she's watching me. Doesn't matter. Then all of a sudden, as they're turning the corner in the hiking trail, they discover a wildfire just beginning. Obviously, this alerts all the civilians, and immediately Harper and the others like immediately trying to get everyone to safety, but as well as getting them away from Glasser to not give them the opportunity to do anything of the sort. So once they radio that in, we cut over to I want to say the first thing we see, because I actually went to a different channel briefly, so I had to kind of go back to the real one. So I think James is dropping off his daughter to Wesley, who's about to wait for his babysitter for his two kids, so they can all go to work. However, I don't think they've quite hit the fire yet. Well, maybe they did, and he was just hoping that his babysitter would come so he can get them properly to work. But sadly, she is a little bit concerned about it with everything going on, that maybe it would be the best course of action for her to stay at home and not come into work today. And Wesley's like, okay, that is not a problem. We can arrange that. And then we see little Jack come in and say, clog the toilet, Daddy. And I'm just like, oh no, Wesley. I don't think I've ever seen Wesley in proper dad mode in a while. Like, we've always seen like them in Babies, like doing the traditional stuff, but not like anything consistently saying like, oh, like you are gonna have to do these very, very disgusting things that I don't think I've ever been prepared to see you to do. So back at the station, everyone's already on high alert. Gray's calling in all forces, double time, overtime, whatever's going to be done to contain this fire. Obviously, Bradford is on hand, of course, second in command, ready to kind of post base here at the station, while Nolan is paired up with Penn for the day, as Bradford is busy with with everything going on. Ridley volunteers to head over to Chen's location so he can join up with her. However, Gray needs someone back at the station to kind of run the comms, like with all the major resource groups that they have, so they can guarantee everyone has the best chance of survival. Where do we go from there? So he fills in Ridley on these. There are three major I forgot the name, radio comm phones you're going to be often with. I believe it's the women's shelter, it's FEMA, and it's also the weather service, to get live updates on what the hell's going on out there, so that at least PD can appropriate the information to the correct channels, and that's basically going to be his job for the whole day. Which I'm just like, you really want to trust Ridley? I would have just leave Penn back over there and let Ridley handle the stuff with Nolan. But I'm like, okay, damn, that's so concerning, Gray. But okay. Whatever you feel like is appropriate for the situation, because I don't know. I hope nothing comes back to bite them in the ass over this decision. Nolan and Penn join up with Chen, Juarez, and Harper, who are escorting the last of the civilians from the hiking trail down to the base of the hiking trail, giving them pseudo civilian police clothing for the meantime, so that they can still work while not being able to properly put on their uniforms. They all split up. Juarez heads over to the women's shelter to volunteer to help out with James. Chen is presumed is going to return to the station to assist out with the resources there, and Harper is dead set on staying nearby to keep an eye on Glasser, because even though technically they're in the middle of a crisis mode, Glasser could take advantage of the opportunity and do something illicit. So she's going to keep her very close eyes, also instructing Nolan and Penn to kind of, clear out the entire street, make sure that everyone, is away, just to mitigate the potential casualties in the area. Bradford gets a call from his sister. Apparently her sons are being sent home early from school due to the air quality control, and she's trying to return back home as well. But however, with traffic and everything going on, she has no real ETA on that, so he decides to go pick them up and bring them back to his house for temporary safety until she can get over there to them. He informs Ridley about it, and where do we go from there? We see, so Ridley, let's just say this much. We only had him for 8 episodes. And I want to root for the guy. I really, really do. But this episode, it just question, because I know the type of person I am. Let me just say that. I know the type of person I am. These are the type of situations where I don't think I'll survive, considering the fact this is fight or flight response. There are hundreds of thousands of people depending on Ridley. And the fact you gotta say it like that, again, we have not progressed much with his character. We have not really seen much development with him just quite yet. Maybe it was on purpose or not with how his character story is. And especially after this episode, I don't think we're ever going to get there, or some variant of it. So, yeah, so Bradford tells Ridley, okay, I'm going to go out. Just tell Gray I'll be back as soon as I can. You know, I got to deal with a personal family matter. He'll understand. Ridley's like, I got you. Does he? We cut over to the women's shelter where James is wrangling the volunteers to prepare themselves. They're going to have an influx of people here waiting for assistance and everything. Selena shows up, ready to volunteer, ready to get into work. She's just mainly going to handle inflow patrol, just to get everyone situated like properly in like a nice, clean, organized fashion. Then one of James's friends from the community, I guess, that's my assumption there, shows up. Apparently she's kind of been AWOL from volunteer events for the last couple of weeks, so James seeing her here is a bit of a, I wasn't expecting it, but she's like, yeah, no, I just figured you need my help, so I'd rather just, come over here and assist with the matter. And he's like, great, we need all hands on deck right now. We cut over back to the street where Glasser's on, where Harper Mealy is getting a little too close to him, and he's like, okay, well, are you here to like help the civilians? Are you here to still patrol me? Because again, there's a natural disaster happening right now. Yeah, you should really prioritize what is more important to you right now, me or the safety of all the other civilians around me. Eventually, he does drop the act and just like goes back to focus on his family to make sure that they're safe and sound. I know eventually, I forgot, Lopez does chime in as well. She does join up with them. And again, trying to keep Harper on the straight and narrow, because like, even though Glasser's been her priority for almost a month now, it is still very important. She does focus on right now the safety of everyone else. That is number one in the importance scale. While Nolan and Penn continue to survey around and take care of everything else with the other civilians. Bradford picks up his nephews, just instructs them, look, just do whatever you usually do. Just be safe here. Your mom will be here momentarily, and then yeah, you'll be good to go. However, the boys be boys. They're just immediately ready to turn on the PS5 and like play it. Which I'm like, I had no idea Bradford even had a PS5. Which again, like, we don't know. There's so much about Bradford we don't know that I'm like, I had no idea he had a Nintendo Switch in his house. Whether or not he did it for his nephews or for himself, I really don't know. He just doesn't seem like the Nintendo type of person, in my opinion, about that. So yeah, everyone starts moving out. Glasser and his family are about to pack out as well. Harper gives Wesley a call. Yeah, Wesley a call to ask him about like the legalities of her going into Glasser's house during the middle of a wildfire. He said, technically, you can legally get away with this being a safety check, just in case of you can. Maybe there's like a potential like way that like if the fire comes to this specific household, it'll spread throughout the entire area. That's a possibility. So technically Harper has a legal way, but the only places she can legally check for is places people can hide in. That's about it. So immediately Harper's like, that's all I need to know. She heads straight into the house. Glasser follows her, berating her for like, what are you doing? Like, is this really where you're going to be wasting your time for? She's like, yeah, basically, because I'm doing a safety check. It's like, oh, okay, so you're looking at places where specifically I could be hiding a human body, which would be in my own household. And he's like, don't be an idiot. Like, I'm not going to have anything here at my own private residence with my family here, so I'm kind of doing this for nothing. Eventually, Glasser and his family leave after that once Harper dismisses him. She instructs Nolan and Penn to just follow him to the shelter, make sure that he gets there, only just there safely, no other twists and turns over there, while she and Lopez continues to finish up the evacuation nearby while they go take care of something else at the moment. Bradford heads back to the station. However, Chen meets up with him, letting him know that there has been a reported burglaries in his neighborhood. So obviously, with his nephews there, they immediately turn it back over there to go see what's going on over there with them. And then we see Ridley just in the middle of crisis mode. We just see him with like notepads everywhere. I'm confused in his organization system. I really don't know what's going on here. He's just like jumping between these calls back and forth, really having no idea what the heck to do. It's just like, it's total man for him. I don't wish that on my worst enemies there. I really, really don't. We cut back over to the women's shelter. Juarez is taking in the intake very calmly, very smoothly. Eventually, Glassman and his family come in, and they are able to be checked in properly. Juarez again being a neutral person, just focusing more on just the safety of the individuals, despite the suspected nature of Glasser right now, while Nolan and Penn are keeping a close eye on him and his family. Meanwhile, James notices that his friend that he noticed before is talking to a very sketchy individual across the way. He heads over there to try to defuse the tense situation. However, the guy immediately just like gets a little bit angrily defensive against him, wanting him to butt out of it, allowing Nolan to step in, interject, calm down the situation. Penn gets distracted as well, as this allows Glasser to kind of sneak away over the back way, because he can't handle it. He needs his fix. He needs to get meticulous up on this business. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I failed at that one. So from there, I want to say, yeah. So then he knows that Glasser got away. They paged over Harper about it. Harper gets mad because again she's been hunting Glasser for so long. She's been keeping a very close eye on him, and the one time she lets her eyes off, he gets away. Lopez tries to like calm her down a bit, just say, hey, look, I know you've been bent on getting this guy. I totally understand it, but right now we are, again, in the middle of disaster mode. We need to focus on the safety. But Harper's like, no, we're going to the shelter. We're going to find Glasser, and we're going to make sure that he's not doing any harm to anyone. So from there, I want to say, yeah, so Nolan heads over, I guess, to meet up with James. I don't know exactly how the chain of order here. I know eventually we cut to an above balcony room where James is consoling his friend, like trying to get some information about it. And yeah, there is some tension between them, but it's not really clear exactly what the specifications are for this one. And I think James gets a little too close for comfort, trying to comfort her, and then she kisses him with Nolan sadly peering in. But again, like, I will admit, I briefly stepped away because I had to get more tea, and I assumed that they were having a secret relationship, and I'm just like, damn, I not call that. I was not expecting that. That was a complete left-hand move. But however, when we came back from the break, it was like, oh no, James didn't want that. That was just an accident. He was just like, no. I'm still married. I still love my wife. And she just mistook his compassion the wrong way. She apologizes. She runs out in regret, while not knowing the full context of things, kind of takes it in like concern, like what does he do now? How does he respond to this situation? Meanwhile, Chen and Bradford go back to his house. They find the two robbers already in the middle of like stealing one of his TVs. Obviously, Bradford just doing the age-old, "This is your house?" They're like, "Oh yes, this is our house. We're just carrying our family heirlooms out," which I'm just like, really? An HD TV counts as a family heirloom? Really? Yeah, eventually they kind of, have a little tussle over it, but thankfully, these two are just very well trained, so they immediately knock out the two burglars. As the nephews kind of peer out, like, oh wow, we didn't have a single idea this was happening. Which I'm just like, kids, always make sure if you have headsets on, just have one ear exposed, just one ear. You just want to make sure you're perfectly cognizant during all this. That's just my recommendation on the factor here. So from there we get into, I want to say, where are we now? So yeah, and then even his sister shows up just baffled, like, what the heck happened? And it's just like, you know what? It's just another day in Bradford's life, just another day in his life. We cut over back to I know there was a random scene, I forgot, but before Bradford left, he was like watching Penn kind of struggle to do any of this. No, not Penn, Ridley. Struggle for managing the 3 call centers, and then Ridley accidentally hung up on the deputy mayor, and Bradford's like, did you just hang up on the mayor? And he's like, well, what do you call it, a hang up? And then I know there was a payoff to that scene where Gray notices that too after Ridley gets a very important piece of information that we'll talk about later on. And once Gray hears that he accidentally hung up on the mayor, he's like, you know what? Sure. You hung up on the mayor. Good job, Ridley. Good job. I think that was the first single piece of praise Ridley has gotten since he started his FTO journey. Then we cut over back to the shelter where Harper and Lopez join in already. Harper immediately guns for the wife, needing to know what the hell's going on. Where's your husband? There, this can't be coincidental. And she just said no. He went back to the warehouse just to make sure his his supply is safe for his company, because again, like, all you focusing about is accusing him for illicit activities he had no idea of even like committing. Lopez tried to fill in with Nolan about what's going on. Nolan's trying to find the right words to figure out how do you tell Harper that you saw your husband cheating on you with another woman? Like, how do you tell that to her? Because again, this is also Harper we're talking about. So while Harper's busy with the wife over there, Nolan tries to play halfway house with the son, who's just playing a game in a nearby wrestling ring, trying to also get some information about him, trying to figure out like where could that have gone, trying to just look out for his safety. He does admit, okay, well, that's it. We had a secret green car on hand. You know, that if something happens, just look for the green car. However, the wife kind of stops them, saying that, what are you doing? Like, that's my son. Don't even bother interrogating him. And Nolan's just like, well, did you know that your husband had a secret third car? A second car on him that you didn't know about? And then Lopez is like, oh, we just got them on facial cam footage. He's already in a brown car. So apparently he was giving his son the wrong information as well. And I forgot there was a scene where Harper and Lopez, they do find the original family car, but however, they find a nearby homeless person who admitted that one of his friends went with him because he needed assistance with something at the warehouse. So that was already like a big red flag on that point. So now definitely they got to look for him and see where the hell Glasser could have gone as a result of that. Where do we go from there? Yeah, so I want to say Chen and all parties trying to converge on Glasser, and then so once they get an estimated location on where Glasser could be, they instruct Bradford and Chen, because they're the closest one to the site right now, so they can do a more quicker pickup. So they decide, okay, go through this way. You should be able to get there quick and easy. We don't have any reports of that entrance to the area being contaminated with fire. And at the same time, Ridley gets a call in that area is now prone to being caught on fire. And Ridley, being the lovable buffoon he can be sometimes, does not page anyone on comms about it. So we'll come back to that later, as Chen and Bradford are approaching the site, trying to, josh around a little bit, catching up on the nephews, as, again, Chen hasn't seen them in a long time, that, Bradford just, they ask about how are you, like, how are things now between us, and hour before they can converse further on it, they find the fire ahead of them, like, closing in on them, even the backside also caught on fire, so they're essentially stuck in place. They page Gray over the comms about it. Obviously, Gray's like, okay, well, what can you do? Can you get out of foot? And sadly, however, there are other points of exit, are either a cliff or climbing up a mountainside. So sadly, there is no way they can get out of this at the moment. So Gray's like, okay, we will do whatever we can back here to get you some assistant mobilized to you right now. Just stay tight. Maybe it'll be about half an hour. Just hold out as best as you can. Obviously, Bradford and Chen realize that, okay, their current predicament, if they stay in the shop right now, it's actually going to be worse than anything. So they decide to get their fire safety kit and going straight to the clearing and, like, bunking out behind this aluminum, like, specially designed sheet to prevent fires from getting through. And this has been a scene that a lot of people have been waiting for, as Bradford finally admits he still loves Chen. Chen doesn't say it, though. She does not say it, but it's also implied that she still feels the same way about him, as they're currently, again, they're still stuck in this impasse right now with their relationship, but we don't get to see anything more of that at the current moment. Meanwhile, the other pairs are now closing in on Glasser's secondary house, as his wife admitted that they did have another property within the area that was belonging to her family, but then Glasser kind of took it over for his own personal reasons. So they head over there, they head inside, they split up to see if they can corral Glasser and save the man that he kidnapped. As they all split up, we get to hear random noises going around, multiple different things happening, and I'm just like so confused what's going on, whether or not it was actually the storm, the fire being affecting their impairment and stuff like that. Especially to the point where, like, Nolan has a cartoon moment where he falls through like a piece of the floor, which I'm just like, I thought that only happens in cartoons. Penn does find the the victim still alive. He was already injected with a few needles, so thankfully he was able to save him and bring him back to the shop safely. Nolan crashes through the to the basement, and he encounters Glasser, who attempts to get the drop of him, but Nolan somewhat tries to defend himself pretty well, but sadly all the smoke inhalation and everything being on the field for so long has gotten to him, so he's kind of, you know, starting to feel a little winded with this. Lopez also passes out because of the smoke, and Harper has to wake her up so they can go help out Nolan. Sadly, Nolan is about to meet his maker when, thankfully, Harper and Lopez manage to arrest Glasser, get him finally, at least on the charge of, you know, attempted murder and attempting to impale an officer. So thankfully, they have everything they need to get Glasser finally on hand. So I want to say from there, where do we go from here? So yeah, so they all roll out. Not like that, but they all get out of the area. They got Glasser in hand. It's a success. I want to say eventually, yeah, I know there was one more scene where Gray orders Ridley to order water bombs in the area so that they can get Bradford and Chen out, but yeah, it doesn't happen because the fire does clear up. Chen and Bradford are fine. They embrace, but there's no water bombs. They never came. So whether or not that was just, you know, the fire department being super backed up or something, I'm not 100% certain, but what I can very much say is that Ridley nearly got Chen and Bradford killed. Let's just leave it at that right now. So yeah, so from there, I want to say, yeah, so they embrace, you know, just like, you know, like, let's forget about all the issues we have. We survived this incident that could have killed us. Let's just have a hug, and we'll take it from there. So Glasser's locked in. They finally got the guy. And then Harper's like, I done something nearly impossible. I'm taking all my vacation time. I will see you in a few weeks. And Gray's like, okay, that's good. Very good. Nolan catches in with Wesley as he's coming into the station to check in on everything that's going on. Nolan confides in him about what he saw with, with James and the kiss. Wesley's just like, why'd you have to tell me that, man? Because now I gotta know, and then Lopez can smell bullshit, so she's gonna know, she's gonna tell Harper. It's already gonna be a whole thing. So the point of the matter is, you gotta tell James. He's got 24 hours to fess up to Harper, otherwise you're gonna tell her. And again, we're gonna have that big of a problem right there. So I want to say, was there any other things that we have to address before anything? I know Chen and Bradford are in the hospital. They're getting pumped up with clean air to kind of, you know, resuscitate their lungs and everything. Ridley actually, before Ridley shows up, Chen tells Bradford, you know, I was thinking about taking my sergeant's exam. And Bradford's like, oh, so if you become a sergeant, then I won't be in your chain of custody anymore. And she's like, maybe so. But before this mild, maybe not intentional flirtation can continue, Ridley comes in and just, you know, thanks the Lord that everything's fine with them, that they survived. It's like putting more added insult to injury, where he mentions that, oh my God, it's so crazy. Like the entrance that you guys had a fire on, they never reported that in. And I'm just like, my dude, you fucking knew about this shit. You didn't report. I apologize for my cursing. I never curse on the rookie reviews, but I'm like, my dude, you had a job to let your fellow officers know, hey, this area is about to be engulfed in flames. Stay away. There was ample amount of time to do that. That was your job for communication. That's your primary directive, my dude. And the fact is that all this is on public record, so you lying that they never communicated to you is going to be like, and that's Bradford you're talking. And like the thing that immediately clinched for Bradford is just like when he said, oh yeah, no, I already talked them down. I put the fear of God in them, which I'm just like, Ridley, they only knew you for about a month, and they already know there ain't no way you put the fear of God in anyone. You're just not there yet, my dude. Immediately, Bradford looks at Chen like, oh yeah, Ridley's fucking lying. Like, after he already promised Chen, I am done lying, he tells a new lie, which I'm just like, okay, this guy's a pathological liar. That's already done. Look, the cancer treatment aside, this guy's got to go. And that's, you know, because again, like, people are always under pressure, but the fact is that if you choose to be in this profession, you need to be well versed at being under pressure. You're going to have tons of moments like that. If you, again, 2 officers could have died because of your miscommunication. And the fact is, he ripped up the paper, he pulled it in his pocket, And again, my dude, it's gonna come back to bite you. This is Bradford we're talking. He will find the proof in the pudding to get Ridley off the force. However long that takes, who the heck knows? But we already know that now. Chen and Bradford have a common enemy to get rid of this guy. So from there, I want to say where do we go from here? I know there's a couple more things we have to address before we clock out for the night. No, I think there's only one. I don't remember if there's anything else. I mean, I know we got to see with Smithy not taking orders from Ridley. That was pretty funny. That was all we got from him this week. No, that was about it. So yeah, so from there we cut back to the women's shelter where James goes to talk to his friend. He understands what her mind space is like. She admits that yes, I was at the club during a big shootout with a gang. In there, he saw me. I saw who did it, and I've been kind of carrying them for the last 2 weeks. I kind of been under hiding. So now that I'm back out in public, he's kind of been watching me, trying to make sure that I don't say anything of the story. And James is like, look, I got cop friends. You can be protected. We'll do everything we can. If you can testify against them, we can help you out. However, sadly, before anything more can occur from this conversation, the same guy comes by and starts shooting at them. He hits James and the girl and the woman, and they both fall to the ground with Juarez overhearing it and watching them as she looks in shock that Harper's husband is now on the ground with a bunch of bullet holes in him. As that's kind of where we wrap up the mid-season finale for The Rookie. Like I said, I think this week was really, really well done. I think this is one of the best episodes of the season so far. The Glasser arc ending here, I think it was a little dramatic. I definitely think that worked in the case. I would have liked it to be a little bit more like a cat and mouse game. That's just my personal preference to kind of like stretch out the material a little bit. Maybe give him and Harper a couple more mini showdowns before this one. But again, it is what it is on that front. But at least, a deranged serial killer, it's finally off the street properly. Not exactly for the way they were anticipating, but, definitely in like at least some sort of close regard on it. The James kissing a woman, not by purpose, adds an interesting wrinkle to his ongoing dilemma with Harper. Definitely that's going to be a lot of misinterpretation next episode when we do come back. And I can't wait to see how that's all gonna tee up with that front. And where do we go from there? And Shannon Bradford, at least admitting to each other they still have feelings, is a step in the right direction. Again, definitely, I feel like the thing that's kind of holding them back right now is the chain of command this time around because they're cognizant of it. But if they only have to wait a few more months, maybe by the end of season 7 they get back together. That's my theory now. If we have a normal timeline, which with The Rookie we never do. I'm just being completely transparent with you there. But James being potentially killed off, that's an interesting choice. Again, obviously, we still see his body. He's still breathing. But again, anything can happen on TV. It's just, honestly, like, when it comes to this, I kind of know James is not going to die. And if he does die, then I'm like, there's going to be a lot of unspoken factors. There's going to be a lot of things to come. But again, that will all be addressed in the next episode. But at least where we are right now, again, I think they did a really good job respecting, even though, again, they raped in this episode before the wildfire. I think they did a very accurate representation of the stakes. Able to conclude some certain storylines, evolving some and starting new ones. I was very they can do so much. It's a juggling act, and they always manage to land the footing on it, which they once again do in this episode. But with all that being said, I'm giving this episode 2 thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of this week's episode of The Rookie. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Love to have a conversation with you about it because I want to. But I believe that's going to do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX. We're reviewing every episode in the 7th season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two besides our Rookie episode reviews, we are doing Matlock episode reviews each and every Thursdays after brand new episodes on CBS. We're also doing Reacher episode reviews each and every Fridays after brand new episodes on Amazon Prime. And now official, we are doing Suits LA episode reviews each and every Sunday after brand new episodes on NBC. We also have another show called After the Theater, which is our movie review series. But if you don't care about The Rookie, you're in luck. Well, not really in luck. We're going to take a mini break. We're on a small break next week. Just 1 week off. Don't get your pants in the fire. I actually don't know why we're off next week. Well, actually, it's benefit to me because I'm about to go and do a viewing party for Daredevil Born Again, so that's going to be a lot of fun for me to be able to catch those episodes live until after that, where primary focus is going to be on The Rookie after that moving forward. But no, I'm very excited to see what's going to come when we do come back from the break. I think definitely, it has a lot to chew over for, and also the fact that we got 8 straight episodes with no breaks has been great. And now when we do come back for the second half, I really cannot wait to see how they're going to hit the ground running with everything that's going on right now. That's going to feel a natural part 2 to wherever we were at the end of this episode. So I can't wait to see how that all is going to shake up. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.